The warning sirens shrieked through the cockpit as Captain Marcus Reed fought desperately with the controls of his diplomatic vessel. Sparks flew from the navigation panel as the ship plummeted through the atmosphere of the unknown planet below. His mission to establish peace talks with the Zentheran Empire had just taken a deadly turn. The impact came like a thunderclap. Metal screamed against stone as the ship carved a burning path through the crystalline forest. Marcus felt his consciousness slip away as smoke filled the cabin, and emergency lights painted everything in hellish red. Hours later, twin voices penetrated his darkness. "Sister, look at his strange skin color," whispered one. "Father always said humans were pale like dying moons," replied another. Marcus cracked his eyes open to see two ethereal beings hovering over him. Their skin shimmered with a soft violet hue. Their eyes held depths like twin galaxies. Nyx the Elder, by mere minutes, had silver hair that cascaded like liquid starlight. Her sister Vera possessed the same haunting beauty, but with hair dark as space itself. Both wore flowing robes that seemed to shift color in the alien twilight. "He's awakening," Nyx observed, her melodious voice carrying concern. "We should leave before the patrol finds us here." But Vera knelt closer, studying Marcus's injuries with surprising tenderness. "Look at how he bleeds, sister. Red like ours, despite what Father teaches about human monsters." Marcus tried to speak, but only managed a weak groan. The crash had left him with broken ribs and a deep gash across his forehead. His uniform was torn and bloodied, his communication device destroyed in the impact. The sisters exchanged meaningful glances, conducting some silent conversation that twins often share. Finally, Nyx sighed deeply. "Father will be furious if he discovers we've helped a human. You know his hatred runs deeper than the crystal caverns. But Mother always taught us that mercy knows no species," Vera countered, already beginning to examine Marcus's wounds with gentle hands. Her touch was surprisingly warm, sending unexpected shivers through his broken body. "Besides, look at him. He's helpless, injured, far from his own kind. What harm can one broken human do?" Nyx wavered for a moment, then made her decision. "The old caves by the thermal springs? We can hide him there while he heals." Together, the sisters lifted Marcus with surprising strength, their combined effort making his considerable weight seem almost nothing. As they carried him through the strange forest of singing crystals and bioluminescent flowers, Marcus caught glimpses of their world. Zenthara was beautiful beyond imagination, with floating islands connected by bridges of living light and cities that seemed grown rather than built. "Rest now, human," Nyx whispered as they approached a hidden cave entrance. "Tomorrow, we begin the difficult task of keeping you alive, and ourselves out of trouble." Healing Hearts. The thermal cave became Marcus's sanctuary and prison for the following weeks. Steam rose from natural hot springs that the sisters used to clean his wounds, their gentle ministrations slowly bringing him back from the edge of death. The sisters took turns caring for him, always ensuring one remained to guard against discovery. Vera proved to be the more nurturing of the two, spending long hours teaching Marcus their language and sharing stories of Zentheran culture. Her laugh was like crystal chimes in the wind, and Marcus found himself looking forward to her visits with an intensity that surprised him. "Your people build cities that scrape the sky," she mused one evening as she changed his bandages. "But do you have places like this, where the earth itself provides healing?" Her fingers traced the edges of his healing wounds. Marcus felt his pulse quicken at her touch. "We do," he replied in halting Zenthran, "but none as beautiful as this. None with such caring healers." Vera's violet cheeks flushed deeper purple at the compliment, and she quickly busied herself with gathering supplies. Nyx was more practical, but equally captivating. She brought him news of the outside world and maps of their territory drawn on bark cloth. "Father sends search parties every day," she reported during one visit. "He believes human reinforcements will come for you. He's preparing our defenses for war." "Your father," Marcus said carefully. "Tell me about him." The sisters' expressions darkened simultaneously. Vera spoke first, her voice heavy with old grief. "Commander Thane was different before Mother died. He laughed often and welcomed visitors from distant worlds. A human trader's ship malfunctioned 10 cycles ago. Nix continued the painful story. The explosion destroyed half our medical district. Mother was helping evacuate the wounded when the second blast came. She paused, struggling with the memory. Father found her in the ruins. She lived long enough to make him promise he'd never let hatred consume him. But grief makes liars of us all, Marcus finished softly. He understood now why his presence meant death if discovered. In Commander Thane's eyes, every human was responsible for his wife's death. The sisters began staying longer during their visits, sharing meals and stories that bridged their worlds. Marcus told them of Earth's blue skies and endless oceans, while they described Xanthora's triple moons and the great crystal gardens that sang in harmonious chords. One evening, as Marcus's strength returned, Vera arrived alone and more beautiful than ever in a gown that seemed woven from starlight itself. "There's a celebration in the city tonight," she explained, sitting closer than usual. "The Festival of Three Moons happens only once every few years. Shouldn't you be there?" Marcus asked, acutely aware of her proximity and the intoxicating scent of flowers that clung to her skin. "I'd rather be here," she whispered, her galaxy eyes reflecting the thermal spring's glow. "With you." The moment stretched between them, charged with possibility and danger, before she pulled back with visible effort. "This is madness," she breathed. "Father would exile me or worse if he knew my heart." But even as she spoke, her hand found his, their fingers intertwining in the steamy darkness of the cave. The discovery came at dawn, when a routine patrol noticed the sisters' repeated trips to the forbidden caves. Commander Thane arrived like a storm made flesh, his elite guard surrounding the hidden entrance as Marcus and the sisters shared what they had no way of knowing would be their last. A peaceful morning together, Thane was a towering figure. Even by Xanthoran standards, his violet skin marked with the ritual scars of a warrior leader, his silver hair, once braided with honors, now hung loose in his grief-fueled rage. When his eyes fell upon Marcus, they burned with the intensity of dying stars. "Betrayal," he snarled, his voice carrying the authority of absolute command. "My own daughters sheltered the enemy in our sacred caves." The guard captain raised his weapon, but Thane stopped him with a gesture. "No, this one dies by my hand, slowly, as my wife died slowly in the ruins of human carelessness." Nyx threw herself between her father and Marcus, her usual composure shattered by desperation. "Father, please, listen to us. He's not like the others. He came here on a mission of peace," but Thane's expression only darkened further at her words. "Peace?" He laughed bitterly. "The same peace they offered when their ship exploded in our city? The same peace that left me a widower and you motherless?" His hand moved to the ceremonial blade at his side, its crystal edge humming with lethal energy. Vera joined her sister in protecting Marcus, their combined defiance shocking the assembled guards. "Mother wouldn't want this," she pleaded. "She died saving lives, not taking them. Would you dishonor her memory with revenge?" The mention of his dead wife struck Thane like a physical blow. For a moment his rage faltered, replaced by raw grief that made him seem suddenly older. But then his jaw hardened again. "Your mother's kindness died with her. I won't lose my daughters to the same foolish trust." The argument was interrupted by a sound that made every Xantharan freeze in terror, a low howling that echoed from the deep caves beyond their hiding place. "Shadow prowlers," the guard captain whispered. "The noise has awakened them." Marcus had heard descriptions of these creatures during his briefings. Apex predators that hunted in the planet's cave systems. They were drawn to movement and sound, nearly impossible to kill with conventional weapons. The first beast emerged from the darkness like a living nightmare, its black hide rippling with bioluminescent patterns that hypnotized prey. It stood 8 feet tall, on powerful legs, with razor claws and teeth designed to tear through Xantharan armor. "Form defensive positions," Thane commanded, but Marcus was already moving. Despite his injuries, he grabbed a fallen guard's weapon and positioned himself at the cave's narrow entrance. "What are you doing, human?" Thane demanded. "What any decent being would do," Marcus replied, checking the weapon's charge. "Protecting people I care about." The first prowler charged, and Marcus met it head-on, using techniques learned in Earth's special forces. His movements were precise and deadly, turning the creature's own momentum against it. More prowlers poured from the deeper caves, and soon the entire group was fighting for survival. Marcus fought beside the guards as if he'd trained with them his entire life, his human adaptability proving crucial against the alien predators. When a particularly large prowler broke through their line and lunged for the sisters, Marcus intercepted it without hesitation. The creature's claws raked across his chest, reopening old wounds, but his return strike found its mark. As the beast fell, Marcus collapsed beside it, his blood mixing with the creature's on the cave floor. Thane looked down at the human who had just bled to save his daughters, his worldview cracking like brittle crystal. Forbidden love, the recovery took place in the commander's own palace, a decision that shocked the entire Zenthran court. Marcus awoke in a bed of silk and crystal, tended by the realm's finest healers, while Nyx and Vera maintained constant vigil by his side. Commander. Thane entered as Marcus was attempting to sit up, his expression unreadable, but no longer filled with murderous rage. "The healers say you'll live," he stated simply. "My daughters insisted on the best care." There was something different in his tone, a grudging respect that hadn't been there before. "I would do it again," Marcus said quietly. "They saved my life first. I merely returned the favor." Thane studied him for a long moment before nodding, curtly and leaving without another word, as Marcus regained his strength. His relationship with the sisters deepened beyond mere gratitude or attraction. Nyx would bring him books of Zenthran poetry, reading aloud in her melodious voice, while he learned to appreciate the complex beauty of their literature. Her intelligence was as captivating as her beauty, their discussions ranging from philosophy to stellar navigation. Vera brought him music, teaching him to play crystalline instruments that responded to both touch and emotion. When she sang, her voice seemed to reach into his very soul, weaving melodies that spoke of longing and hope. During these moments, the boundaries between their species seemed to disappear entirely. The palace servants whispered about the unusual arrangement, and soon word reached the Elder Council that a human lived freely among them. Emergency sessions were called. Demands grew louder for Marcus's immediate deportation. The human must leave, Elder Zephyr declared during a formal assembly. His presence violates every treaty and tradition. What message does this send to other worlds? The other council members nodded agreement, their violet faces stern with disapproval. But the sisters had been preparing for this moment. They appeared before the council in formal ceremonial dress, their bearing regal and determined. "Honored elders," Nyx began, her voice carrying across the crystal chamber. "We invoke the ancient rite of bonding." Gasps echoed through the assembly. The rite of bonding was an old law, rarely used, that allowed the adoption of outsiders into Zenthran families under specific circumstances. "Impossible," Elder Zephyr sputtered. "The ritual requires unanimous family consent. And your father would never. I would." Commander Thane's voice cut through the protests as he entered the chamber. Every head turned toward him in shock. "I have seen this human's heart in battle. He bled for my daughters when he could have fled. If they choose him, I will not stand in their way." The Elder Council erupted in debate. But the sisters had done their research. Ancient law was clear. If a family unanimously agreed to bond with an outsider, and that outsider proved worthy through deed and sacrifice, the bonding could proceed regardless of species. That evening, in the private gardens of the palace, Marcus found himself alone with both sisters under the light of Zenthra's triple moons. The air was thick with the perfume of night-blooming crystal flowers. The sisters wore gowns that seemed to capture and hold starlight. "You understand what this bonding means?" Vera asked softly, her hand finding his. "It's not just citizenship. It's family. Heart bond. Something deeper than your human marriages." Nyx moved to his other side, her silver hair gleaming in the moonlight. "In our culture, sisters can share a heart bond with the same person. It's rare, but not forbidden. We've both felt the pull toward you since that first day in the caves." Marcus felt his pulse racing as he looked between them. These two extraordinary beings who had saved his life and captured his heart. "I never expected to find love among the stars," he whispered. "Especially not with two incredible women who see something worthwhile in a crashed pilot." Their first kiss was soft, tentative, shared under the watchful eyes of three moons that seemed to bless their forbidden union. The rescue ship arrived during the bonding ceremony preparations. Its human crew stunned to find their missing captain alive and apparently about to marry into alien nobility. Captain Reynolds, Marcus's former superior, demanded a private meeting that threatened to tear apart everything Marcus had built on Xanthara. "This is madness." "Reed," Reynolds argued in the ship's communications bay. "You're throwing away your career, your life on Earth. For what? Alien infatuation? Stockholm Syndrome?" His weathered face showed genuine concern beneath the military disapproval. Marcus looked out the viewport at the Crystal City where Nix and Vera waited for his decision. "It's not infatuation, sir. It's love. Real, honest love like I've never experienced before. They see me not as a human or an outsider, but as someone worth saving, worth cherishing, and Earth." "Your duty, your family back home?" Reynolds pressed. "Your sister asked me to bring you back safely. Are you going to break her heart for alien pretty faces?" The guilt hit Marcus like a physical blow. His sister Emma had raised him after their parents died, sacrificing her own dreams to ensure he could join the space service. She was waiting on Earth, probably planning a celebration for his safe return. The internal struggle showed on his face as he wrestled with impossible choices. Stay with the women he loved but abandon his birth world and family, or honor his duties and lose the deepest happiness he'd ever known. That evening, the sisters found him on the palace balcony, staring up at the stars where somewhere among them, Earth spun in its distant orbit. They approached carefully, reading the torment in his posture. "The ship can take you home, Vera," said gently, though her voice caught with suppressed emotion. "We would understand. Your world has a claim on you that predates ours." Nix moved to his other side, her hand resting on his shoulder. "We've been selfish, asking you to abandon everything you've known. Perhaps it's better if you go back to your people, your real family." Marcus turned to face them both, seeing the love and sacrifice in their eyes. They were willing to let him go because they believed it was best for him, even though it would break their hearts. In that moment, he knew his answer with crystalline clarity. "My real family," he said softly, pulling them both into his embrace, "is standing right here with me. My sister will understand eventually. She always said I should find someone who loves me completely. I never told her I'd find to someone's on an alien world." The bonding ceremony took place. The next morning, with the human rescue ship's crew as unexpected witnesses, Commander Thane, wearing his full ceremonial armor, formally welcomed Marcus into his family with words that carried the weight of ancient tradition. "You came to us as a stranger, proved yourself as a warrior, and now join us as a son," Thane declared before the assembled court. May the three moons witness this bond and bless it with strength. The ritual itself was beautiful and complex, involving the exchange of crystal pendants that would glow with shared heartbeats. When Nix and Vera placed their pendants around Marcus's neck, the crystals blazed with brilliant light. Confirming the bond's acceptance by Xantharan spiritual forces, Captain Reynolds attended the ceremony with grudging respect, later admitting he'd never seen Marcus look so genuinely happy. "I'll tell your sister you found something worth more than duty," he promised before departing with his crew. As the human ship disappeared among the stars, Marcus stood with his new wives watching from the palace spire. Vera nestled against his left side, while Nix claimed his right, their crystals pulsing in perfect synchronization with his heartbeat, no regrets. Nix asked softly. Marcus smiled, feeling more complete than he'd ever imagined possible. "Only that it took a crash landing to find my home," he replied, sealing his new life with kisses under Xanthora's eternal stars.